Hey everyone, thanks for joining. John here, senior software engineer with 10 years of experience. And today we are building a new ESLint rule we're going to try to using GPT-4o. What's the motivation here? The motivation is the post in front of us. Miguel Coder says that it's hard to build an ESLint rule with GPT-4o. So I'm thinking, hey, I love to be wrong. I love to be wrong. As a senior engineer, when I build a test, I love to see it fail. Because if you see the test fail, you can fix it and you can have confidence. And it's way more of a green flag than if you write a test that passes without ever seeing it fail. So I love to be wrong. You also think about a growth mindset. So part of a senior mindset is loving to be wrong because it lets us grow. So I'm hoping Miguel's right and that this is really difficult because I can't figure out why this would be difficult. So the context here, Alex has a post that says basically a rock star engineer never uses ChatGPT. Totally respect Alex. I love taro.com, join taro.com, highly recommend it. But in this case, which is the exception, not the rule, generally I'm a big fan of what he has to say. But in this case, I said, oof, not this take. And I think I have the second most upvoted comment. We'll read the comment from Akil, which is higher voted. The rockstar engineer is so busy reinventing the wheel that they miss the deadline, while the mediocre engineer uses ChatGPT, delivers on time, gets a bonus. So it's along the same lines, which is basically pushing back, although he's using a lot more humor, pushing back against this idea that not using ChatGPT makes you awesome in some way. My take is rockstar engineer never uses an IDE. So here, what I'm showing is that there's like a table stakes standard tool used in the industry by engineers on the job, which is the IDE. And we increasingly have those IDEs available during code challenges and interviews as well. And what I'm showing here by swapping out ChatGPT for IDE is, hey, ChatGPT is basically standard usage on the job at this point. It really should be part of the interview process, although it's not yet there, but it should be. And this goes along with a series of polls that I've been doing on this topic. I'll do a completely different video on this, although it only has 6 votes, the third one, so it's like premature. But at a glance, this framing where you frame GPT or generative AI or Copilot or what have you as like just another tool that developers use, like an IDE, is an extremely popular take, like over 80%. And the only pushback that I'm seeing, again, only 6 votes, take it for what it's worth, but the only pushback to the idea in so far that generative AI should be allowed in the interview is just that it makes the interview too easy. Not that there's anything, like no one's disagreeing that it's standard now. In 2024, definitely in 2025, it's standard to use generative AI as a programmer. Okay, so that sets the background. So with all this background, and so this is like, hey, you shouldn't use GPT. And I'm like, hey, like, if you're trying to solve a problem that GPT has never seen. So Alex says, if you can solve engineering challenges where 0% of the solution is online, AI will never be a threat to you and it will never take your job. The problem is there are no actual problems like that. Like on a serious note, you would have to invent a whole new programming language if you want GPT to literally have 0% of the solution, because syntactic building blocks as simple as like if conditions and loops. GPT is heavily trained on this and they exist in virtually every algorithm solution. So that would be something like a 10, but in many cases, GPT-4 can do much better. Now, that's not to say that GPT-4 just spits out the right answer all the time. That's a whole different problem that we also should push back on. It's a useful tool. It doesn't magically implement everything, I think is the right mental model. So here I say, if you can solve engineering challenges where 0% of the solution is online, you're solving a contrived problem, not a real world problem, and it's not impressive. It's the purest smell of inefficiency. Like you learned how to solve something that's completely detached from reality. Like, good job. You just wasted everyone's time. So this is the context where Miguel pushes back, and Miguel says, you're so wrong, bro. He says, I guess you've never written an ESLint rule because the process is impossible to document. Pure trial and error takes a tremendous amount of skill that ChatGPT could never hope to master in a million years. So there's some problems with this. I mean, the main point of today's stream is we're just going to put it to the test and see if I can do this in an hour and a half. But also, like, mastery is not the purpose of ChatGPT. So the responsible mental model for ChatGPT is that it's another dev tool. It's a standard dev tool, and it helps us. Not that it has mastered everything. That's absurd. But also, like, a million years, come on. Like, this is not a serious claim. Generative AI wasn't even around 10 years ago. ChatGPT is getting leaps and bounds better every year. So the idea that, so I think ChatGPT can pretty much make an ESLint rule today, and we're going to go through that. But even if we fail today, I would want to revisit it like next year. I don't think we need to wait a million years. That's like exaggerated. Okay, and to make the test even more conservative, like, I'm super tired. This is late for me. I'm going to time box it to an hour and a half. Hopefully we get done faster. But if I can do this in an hour and a half when I'm tired and I want to go to sleep, then I think a competent senior can definitely use it in the course of a standard sprint, right? Cool. So with that, let's make our GitHub repository. Here it is, a new one, ESLint don't fix me. So this is like a contrived use case. Like, we're going to make a custom ESLint rule. And basically, this purpose of this ESLint rule is a code consistency rule that says you should not have fix me comments. You should only use to do comments. I'm not saying this is like a good rule. It's just like to implement a custom ESLint rule. You could make an argument that it's a good rule because code consistency is nice. Whatever. Whether or not it's a good rule is debatable, but I think it's like, at least you can get your head around what we're doing here. So I think it's a fine proof point, basically. Okay. And so what's my approach? ESLint Next.js, I think. Okay, so we'll get ESLint installed in the Next.js app, and then we'll also build a custom rule. So here I'm going to my VS Code workspace. Some other project pulled up. I'll close this. Welcome in, everyone on TikTok. Thanks for being here, and other platforms as well. So here we git clone the repo. All right, let's cd into ESLint don't fix me. It's automatically added to my workspace. A, B, C, D, E. I'll open up the README. The README basically says what it's supposed to do, right? Yeah, I don't know what else there is to add. So here, I will make a directory, and I will call this app, and then I'll make a directory and call this lib. So this is kind of like a monorepo. This repo contains the custom rule under lib. There is a basic app for testing and verification purposes under app. Feels too far out. What would you recommend that I do before next summer? Build projects. Check out latterly.io. Link is in the bio. There's a standard step-by-step checklist. Did you see the comments before? No, I didn't see anything before. John, I spoke with both CC and Uni. I decided I will start next summer. Okay. So you're doing a gap year. One of my favorite things to do with a gap year is try out a coding boot camp. It's wonderful because you get the best of both worlds, because if it works out, you get to skip college and get a programming job. But if it doesn't work out, you don't avoid college. It was just a gap year. So college is still an effective insurance policy, but you can lazily load that expensive insurance policy. So yeah, if you're in that situation, consider the option of a high quality coding bootcamp. Do not pick the average coding bootcamp. Please visit latterly.io. If you have any questions, join the Discord. And we can go over the criteria for prestige for a high quality coding bootcamp. That's basically, you go to course report, 4.25 score or higher, minimum 400 reviews, ideally with a job guarantee and a reasonable price point. Okay. So if you caught that, cool. And if you didn't catch that, join Latterly. It's on the checklist. So really, really important that you don't go to a random bootcamp. You need to go to a high quality bootcamp. Oh, did I commit in the wrong repo? All right. Well, at least I got an answer to the question. That's good. Okay, so docs, it's monorepo. Okay. So now I'm going to cd into app, and I want to npx create next. What's the syntax? Create next app. Ooh, is it dipping a little? What's up with that? Looks like create next app is kind of dipping. Chat, what's the new framework we're doing instead of create next app? Is everyone going to Blitz now? Blitz supremacy. I hope it's not Remix. What is your project name? My app. Sure. Do you like TypeScript? Oh yeah. ESLint. Yes, please. That's the main thing. Tailwind. We love it. We love it. Would you like to use source? I don't think so. App router. Yeah. Cool. And then we'll change this to be my app, apparently. Oh, I have app/my app. I'm so dumb. That was not necessary. Whatever. Okay. So now we go up and over to the library here, and we're going to npm init, make a new package here. Package name is going to be ESLint. ESLint. Don't fix me. 1.0, sure, why not? Same description as here. Grab a link to the. Does it want the, which one does it want? I guess it wants this one. Keywords, ESLint, ESLint. That's about it. Cool. Okay, so this is chore init lib package. Oop, push. All right. the video is interesting so far, give it a like, tap the screen, smash the buttons. That way the algorithm sends it over to other potentially interested individuals. We can grow and educate the community. Doesn't that sound great? Let's grow and educate the community. Okay, so what do I do next? Now I go over to ChatGPT. So I have this package. Hey, how realistic do you think a nonprofit will let me on board to volunteer as a software engineer for them? Oh, that's like not very realistic. You'd have to find like a weird nonprofit or one where you have like personal friends or like create your own or something. The typical reputable nonprofit is not going to let you do that. They'll let you have an unpaid internship, but not joining the board though. Okay, so here, I don't even need to paste that much. I can just go over to GPT-4. Where are you at? Where is my instance? Okay. Now we're using GPT-4o, the premium model. It's way, way better than 3.5. If someone just says ChatGPT and they're talking about the free 3.5, just don't use that model. It's not that good. Okay. Role. You are an expert web developer. You are familiar with JavaScript, TypeScript, developer tools, ESLint, and Next.js, among many other things. Task. Let's do situation. Role, situation, task. Situation. We have a monorepo with 2 top-level directories, app and lib. Lib will contain a custom ESLint rule. App is a basic Next, and let's put the version here. Is it 14, I think? Next.js 14 app using the app router with basic ESLint already installed. Okay. Task. User says, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just looking for a way to get my experience up besides personal projects. Yeah, internship, freelancing, hackathons, those would be the main ways. Internship, freelancing, hackathons. Okay. Yeah, also if you turn your personal project into something that makes money, even if it's only like $10 a month, it's a commercial project at that point. It's not just a personal project. So that's another thing you can do. I mean, that's equivalent to freelancing, basically. You're just freelancing for yourself. You can come contribute to Latterly. It's open source and it's commercial. It makes money. That's not a personal project, is it? Yeah, come over to Latterly. You can see if there's a Code for America chapter near you. That's a great take. That's a great take. Yeah, check out the communities. So what's the task? The task is, npm init has already been run within lib. Let's build out the custom ESLint rule, which does the following. Complain about fix me comments and suggest they should be converted to a to-do comment for code consistency. This custom rule name can be called ESLint don't fix me. That's what I called it, right? Let's double check. ESLint don't fix me. Cool. So first thing we want ChatGPT to do, hello ladder lad, what's up, wow? The first thing I want ChatGPT to do is just build the custom rule. And then as a second stage, we'll have it be installed. You're going to get the thing confused if you try to do those at the same time. And this shows that there is skill on the part of the prompt engineer required to get GPT to work in an optimal way. So this is not a skill-less magic pill where you just wave a wand and ChatGPT implements all the things. I need to be aware of the sub-operations required in my overall system design and those order of operations in their relation. I'm just letting GPT take care of all the legwork. That's why it's a productivity boost. So setup, okay. Now we need to install ESLint over here, it says. Cool. Now we got ESLint 9 installed in there. I don't know if that matters, but we can be aware of it. Let's create the directory structure. Okay. And this is it telling me, like, I don't know this. Make dir-p. All right, whatever. Cool. Did some stuff. Now in the no fix me JS, let's add some custom logic. Love to see it. No fix me. Disallow fix me comments. Great. Category best practices. There you have it. There you have it. You didn't know and I didn't know. No one knew until today that this is a best practice, but it's also not recommended. All right, cool. You got to love ESLint. Look at, okay, this is their framework. I'm just going to say this is so awesome, right? The way that you can just get the context like that, and you have this like pluggable, hookable, like ESLint is great. So let's set up the entry point. We're going over to the don't fix me index.js. Okay. Easy peasy. Now imagine if I was having to look through all the documentation for this. So let's link the custom ESLint rule to app. See, it's doing too much. And it wants to use npm link. I know how npm link works, so we can probably make this work. What I would ideally like to do is publish the package to the registry and then install it. You can run into some real gotchas if you use npm link because it can create symlinks, and it behaves weird if symlinks already exist. I'll go through with this for a couple reasons. First of all, it's nice to test your thing out before you publish it, right? Although I could do a dev release, so really I'm not too bothered. But the second reason is just to try out the GPT way. But I do want to call out the fact that the developer is allowed to use GPT does not mean the developer should just be doing everything GPT says. Like, that is a confounded mental model. Allow your developers to use GPT because it saves them time, but they should still be able to audit GPT and improve it. And this is the same thing that's called out in Alex's comment here, is that there's the mediocre engineer that just copies GPT. This is terrible. Mediocre is being kind. There is a good engineer that takes GPT, verifies it's optimal, and makes necessary adjustments. What I'm arguing is that this is not just a good engineer, this is the best engineer, better than the so-called rock star. That's my thesis, to be clear. Wow says proper AI use requires scrutiny. Amen. And I love your profile picture. So this user has a PFP of Clippy. W in the chat if you remember Clippy. All right, let's carry on. I'm going to do a commit just so in case the link breaks everything, I can always go back. So here I'll call this feat implement custom rule. And let me just do a time check. So this took less than 30 minutes and I've been like talking and doing all this extra stuff. If this works, it turned this into a 20-minute task. Allegedly something that couldn't be done in a million years turned it into a 20-minute task. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch, so to speak. Let's make sure that it works. But assuming that it works, and maybe we should blow up that number because we want to include the verification time, but the verification time is not what GPT is doing. That's what I'll be doing. So it depends if you want to break those tasks up or not. But anyway, 15, 20 minutes is the actual implementation itself. Clippy is my VS Code pet. That's awesome. Implement custom rule. So I'm going to open up another terminal for the server. Okay. ESLint, don't fix me. CD my app. So we're going to install this. Here is another reason that as a developer, I need to be aware of what ChatGPT is doing and how to translate it and fix it up when I apply it. Because it doesn't know that I have my app/app. It thinks I just have app. And I don't blame it for thinking that because I lied to it. I lied to it because I wanted to be terse and because I was in denial about the fact that I made an earlier blunder where I nested those directories. So you see, I told GPT I have two top-level directories, app and lib. So it's reasonably thinking that the package JSON would exist under app, but really it exists a step further down because I'm dumb. MDAG12, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate the follow. If you're going to follow, consider tapping like as well. It's always weird to me when I have like more people watching than likes. I mean, it's cool, but anyway, I would appreciate it if you liked the video. Saskia on YouTube says GPT is a thought amplifier, but an amplifier is not a thought leader. Oh yeah. And that's actually part of my thesis. So my thesis is that it's a tool that you need to know how to use. And if you know how to use it, you should incorporate that into the daily job and the interview. Because as the employer, I don't just want to know if you can code. I want to know if you know how to use the tools as well. Imagine someone was being interviewed for construction and they were not allowed to demonstrate anything. It's like a book knowledge test. Like I can talk about shoveling dirt, cutting logs and all this, but it's quite a different thing. Maybe this is a bad analogy if no one in the chat has done construction. It's quite a different thing to talk about cutting and building a table than to actually do it. Because it's very, very easy to say, this is how you like you need to slice this many legs. But saying that and then doing it and getting the cut just right they're like very different, right? So what I'm proposing is that as the employer, you actually want signal on the software engineer and their ability to use the tools of the job, including in 2024, post-2024, generative AI, such as GPT, Copilot, and so forth. So that you should not exclude this from the interview. You should mandate it as part of the interview. And even throw out some questions that are known to trip up GPT and see how the candidate handles those questions. This is a fantastic gap in the market right now. Please, somebody build this thing or fund me. Fund me and I'll build it. Y Combinator, where you at? It's like an echo chamber, they say, but with amplification or a bubble chamber highlighting the ins and outs of the trajectory of your thought process. But GPTs have no impetus or driving force, proper driving force. Well, they do. They have a cost minimization routine. They have an error minimization routine. Now, whether you call that proper is subjective, right? I think, again, proper goes to how it's being used. But it's certainly a good way to do things, contingent on the developer knowing what they're doing. Like min-maxing logic and math is like a reasonable way to approach a bunch of problems like estimation. GPT is just an estimator, right? A forecaster. Okay. We already did this. Now we want to go over here. Here is where I am going to do some of the things, but I'm going to not copy it literally. So basically, I want to make sure that I'm in this terminal, in the same location where my package.json exists, so that I can link it. So I'm here. ls, I verify it exists. Now I'll npm link. I don't know if I can hop to my other shell. I think I might need to use the same shell literal. So I closed my other shell. Here I am still in the one where I ran npm link. And I'll be going to the sibling package JSON. So I'm going to go up and then go into app and then go into my app, which is a little different than what GPT told me to do. And here I'm going to run the other side of the link. So one is like making the npm link available. And in this case, I'm using it. Why did I run it this way? Look at the package name. It's linked off the package name as ID. Does that make sense? So when I'm in my local package and I say npm link, I'm making my local package available to install elsewhere on my local machine. That's what npm link does. It lets you take a local package and install it without going out to the external registry over the API, over the network. So my first one, where I ran npm link without a following string, was to activate a local directory and make it available. Then I go to the other place, I say npm link and give it the name that I want to link, and it finds it. So this terminal should be currently linked, and there's a way you can check that. I don't know, the equivalent of pip list. But anyway, that's another thing that I would ask ChatGPT to remind me the syntax for. These are syntax games, aren't they? We know the abstracta we'd like to do, and to concretize the abstracta is syntax. That's John's take about what syntax means. So I know what I'd like to do. Represent the list of installed local packages. In Python, that's pip list. How do you do that in npm world? It's just a syntactic difference in my book. All right. So we linked it. Now that we linked it, we want to configure the ESLint in the app directory. Annabelle says, ChatGPT is blocked on my work computer. They make me raw dog the she. That's the case for a lot of people. That's the case for a lot of people. And I will say, I think you should allow candidates to use ChatGPT in the interview process if and only if you also allow it on the job. Because the idea is that you're getting a true signal of their on-the-job productivity. That's why we run interviews. That's the reason we should be using interviews, is to get a signal of the future potential productivity. So I don't think you should let them use GPT if you don't allow that internally, because it will give you a false inflation of their productivity, which is exactly what the naysayers are worried about, by the way. So they're right in a sense. Give the devil his due. Here's the other thing I'll say about that. If you are inside of a company, particularly a company with over 1,000 headcount, you really start to see engineering economies by getting ChatGPT Enterprise. And you can be the champion to help adopt it at your company. When I say 1,000 headcount, I don't mean 1,000 engineering headcount. I mean you're a tech company with 1,000 headcount. So your engineering org might only be 300 people. Like once you break that number, you're going to have productivity benefits that net out the cost of the ChatGPT Enterprise. That's wild. My boss just gave us all access to Copilot. There you go. There you go. And if you need help making a data-driven case for productivity and cost, DM me. I can help you build this case. I've done it before. I helped drive adoption at Upstart. There's also like lots of public information on this productivity. It's not speculative. It's very well documented. So GitHub of themselves, of course, has lots of productivity and developer satisfaction benefits. So there's knock-on benefits to retention. True, employers don't really care about retention. Many of them don't care about retention in this market cycle position because it's like a buyer's market and employer side market. But they're going to care, and they should care. If they're smart, bummer is a lot of employers are not smart. But if they're smart, they care about retention even in a down market. Like, anyway, love that for y'all. Thanks, Annabelle. No, Annabelle, I'm saying you can DM me if you want to build that case. Now, I mean, if it's like too much work, whatever. I get that. You have to actually see the benefit for the effort. Okay. What's on my clipboard? Something important was on my clipboard. Oh yeah, this thing that I'm going to make a file. What file am I making? Thanks, GPT, for helping me remember. So it's an augmented memory tool as well. app/.ESLint rcjs. And we're going to my app. We don't have this file. So here I'll click into package.json. Let me look at my next config. Oh, this is ESLint v8. I wonder if that's going to matter. I would love to be that guy. Maybe I'll do this later this week to go pull request Next.js to bump ESLint up. I'm a Next.js core contributor. I just bumped a library version. That would be sicko mode. By the way, I think I have contributed to Next.js doing something silly, like documentation or something. So here, I'll go ahead and do what it says. I'll make a new file. I'm wondering if I should be updating the next config instead. But it's easy to just test it out. ESLint RC. ESLint RC, is it? Whoa. That thing was here the whole time, and I was just like blind to it. ESLint RC.js. Isn't that crazy? This happens to me sometimes. Does this happen to you? This other file existed the whole time, and I even looked for an ESLint config file, and I just skipped right over it. But once my green one was there, all of a sudden I was able to see this. So ESLint RC JSON already exists. So now I'm going to have a chat with ChatGPT. It's called ChatGPT. It's not called Copy Me GPT. You need to go back and forth, translate, and deal with it. Thanks for the likes. So I already have a file called ESLint rc.json with the below content. Should I create the other config file you mentioned or update this file? And the right answer is that I should update it. So one of the things that I do as a proper prompt engineer is I'm always testing GPT to make sure that it hasn't hallucinated. It hasn't gotten confused. Once it hallucinates or gets confused and that information is in the context window, it tends to snowball. So I want to catch it early by asking questions that I already know the answer to. And this was an example of that. So this is just a matter of prompt engineering. So again, allowing your developers to use ChatGPT. I'm emphasizing this for the fourth, fifth time because it's really important. And I don't know why this meme take persists somehow. Using ChatGPT does not mean just copying the output of ChatGPT. Okay, cool. I'm gonna just echo that the rest of the year, or until people stop pushing back as if that were anyone's take. Am I being grumpy? I'm sorry, y'all. I think I'm just tired. Okay, add the ESLint don't fix me over there. Cool. Okay, so here it is. It's saying update the same file. Okay. Make sure you've linked it. Now let's create a test file, test.js. Cool. What are you coding? Awesome username. Are those Japanese or Chinese characters? I can't read it. We are coding a custom ESLint rule. So here I'm pasting fix me. This needs to be refactored. Note, it doesn't really. We just want to test the fix me rule. Okay. Should I commit at this point? Let's see what it wants me to do next. Then run the ESLint check. npx ESLint -- fix. I'm gonna commit before the fix. So here we have a feature. Is it a feature? That's a weird thing to call a feature because this is kind of like a test harness. So it would be a feature to the test harness. No, it would be like a new test case. Test enable fix me enable fix me rule testing. It's providing a test case. That's a way better way to say that. Test provide fix me test case. It's like a much better way to say that. Yo, is bro hacking? No, not hacking. Just making an ESLint rule. Elephantis, welcome. Do you recommend any extensions for ChatGPT? Only one I use is GPT search to find my previous chats. I do not have any tools in that regard that I recommend. I will say I have not intentionally looked for them either. Is it Python? No, you can see here the file extension is TSX, which means that this is React with TypeScript. It's JSX with TypeScript. JSX is just JavaScript, but it's an XML-like representation of JavaScript. So it looks like it's HTML, but this is actually all JavaScript. How to not get caught using AI. The way that you don't get caught using AI is that you surround yourself with a context that empowers you to transparently use AI. The way that you don't get in trouble for using AI is that you convince leadership to let you use AI, which should be, okay, I'm not going to say the should be part. I would like to say that it should be easy. Getting leadership to change their mind is never easy. and if I'm careful and if I'm thorough, I'm not even sure I want a leadership that quickly, maybe I do. I don't know. That's an interesting video for another topic. Is it good or is it bad to have leadership which changes their mind rapidly? Probably both in different ways, right? Motivational speech 706. I am in school. Yeah, I don't know. We can have a talk some other time. Like, I don't know how much I care. Like, why do I care? Maybe ask your teacher. I think the same rule applies. Use it if it's transparently allowed by leadership. It just, your leadership would be your teacher, right? But I can see some classes, like maybe like musical composition. Are they going to be mad if you use generative AI to help? Maybe they would. Maybe they're mad too. I don't know. Ask your teacher and don't cheat. Ask your teacher and don't cheat. But also, just know that it's increasingly normal in industry. And so maybe you mention that to your teacher and maybe that makes a difference. So we've linked this thing. Now let's make the thing work, or like let's run it. npx ESLint -- fix cd app. I need to be in the local area with the package JSON. Here I am. I never installed it, right? ESLint plugin, ESLint don't fix me. Ooh. So I never ran npmi. I received the error. Do I need to npmi after linking? Now, the haters can have their point right now. The naysayers who want to reject GPT will be saying, see, ChatGPT can't just magically solve the thing unguided. So many things to say about that. First of all, that misunderstands what it means to use GPT. You should not use it unguided. Second of all, when you get the error, that's not a sign of failure. That's just a step in the development process. You can take the error right back to ChatGPT, and it's extremely useful to help you understand errors. It's really good for that purpose. What do you need to know to be a prompt engineer? So check out latterly.io, sign up. You can sign up for free. Okay. And one of the first lessons will be on search techniques. And there are 8 of these. One of them involves ChatGPT, and it'll give you some prompt engineering tricks. The main one that I think is useful to be aware of is role, situation, task. So you want to tell it to act in one or many other roles. This will overload the relevant weights. If that doesn't mean anything to you, then let's have a chat on the Discord after the stream. But it'll overload the relevant weights for expertise in the role you give it, which will improve the quality of the task. You're also going to want to take advantage of things like chain of thought prompting. So when it tells me to do something, and then I go try it, and then it makes an error, and then I present the error, and we have a conversation of back and forth, it creates a chain of thought. This is a best practice. Chain of thought prompting is actually a really good way to get outcomes. There's just a bunch of these. You can just Google these, just like prompt engineering techniques. Another one is to provide it examples. So this is called multi-shot prompting. You give it examples of what you want it to do. So here, I'm asking it 0-shot prompted to create a custom ESLint rule. So this is like the limiting difficult case for GPT, by the way. If it can do it here, it can definitely do it much easier with multi-shot. But the way it works with multi-shot is I would provide it examples of existing custom ESLint rules. And I would say, can you make one more that does like something slightly differently? Last tip I'll give is with the role. You don't need to give it one role. In fact, it's really nice if you try testing it with a few different roles, and you can get the robust component of the answer. You can get the robust component of the answer. So if you tell it like, you know, what's your favorite color? Act like a marketer. What's your favorite color? Act like an executive. What's your favorite color? Act like a student. You ask it to act in all these roles and you ask for its favorite color. You'll get a distribution of answers, which itself is useful because then you can look at that and say this pseudo represents some underlying population, like users of the internet or something, English-speaking users of the internet. And sure, that like training set has biases built in, but it's still arguably more useful and closer to a real-world population estimate than doing a one-off role. So it's still really useful. And I'm not just speculating that it's useful. I actually wrote an academic paper on this called a plugin forest. So ChatGPT doesn't have plugins anymore. Now there's custom GPTs. But I proved that if you use a plugin forest, so you ask GPT to select a bunch of roles, and then you ask it the question under those roles, and then you synthesize the answers. You say, now act as if you're a group of those people meeting and coming to a consensus answer. So it creates a tree or a plugin forest. It's like a graph of trees. That's why it's a forest. And then you synthesize that, and you can have it write an academic level paper with 0 hallucinations consistently. That's the result of the plugin forest. I think custom GPTs are great. Laterally has one. You can see it in the upper left. You can go use that for free. So I'm not necessarily mad that plugins are gone, but I am bummed that I put in so much work to like write a paper and then the technology vanished. So it's like an irrelevant paper now. What are you going to do? Okay, so it's asking me to verify a link. Let's see. It appears there's an issue with ESLint recognizing the locally linked plugin. You might not need to install if it's linked correctly, but you might need to make sure the plugin is linked up properly. Okay. Should look like this. Let's go double check. Nothing changed when I paste over the file. Let's verify the link. Great. User local lib node modules. ESLint, don't fix me. So the link does not exist. All right, it wants me to like stop the computer and start again. So it's saying unlink, removed one package. Why are you saying that you removed a package? It just shuffled the dependencies around. Must provide name of package to remove from lib folder. Oh, this was this my fault? This might have been my fault. It wants me to go into the subfolder here. Okay. So I think I see the confusion. It wants me to unlink here, but there's no package JSON file here. This looks better. Ooh, let him cook. Okay, let him cook. So we will CD and then we will unlink this way. That is a proper unlink. Is this GPT-4o? Yes, it is. We already unlinked the other, but fine, we can do it again. It doesn't hurt anything. It's idempotent. It's idempotent. Okay. Got my package JSON here. Let's cook a little bit. Let's npm link from cdlib. Oh, I got a spider over here. That's dope. Come here, buddy boy. Oof. I didn't squish it. Where'd you go? Bro, are you on me right now? Ooh. I grabbed the spider and it ran somewhere and it might have like ran in my shirt, dude. Oh. The show must go on. It was small. It's really creeping me out. The show must go on. Okay. What did I do? I just npm link. Opinion on cybersecurity. It's nice to have. What do you mean opinion on it? I guess you're asking as a career, right? It's fine. Like we need it, right? Okay, we linked it. Now I want to verify the link. Drum roll, please. Da 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 da! The symlink exists. How to become a coding expert. Build projects, build projects, build projects, build projects. You need to do one other thing, Bashal. Build projects. That's how you become a coding expert. It's not by reading a book. It's not by reading 10 books or watching 19 YouTube videos. You need to build projects. Great question. Okay, let's rerun ESLint. Let me also chore this. Dude, now I'm like freaking out that there's a spider on me. I'm gonna take a shower right after this. Oh, it's creeping me out, man. It's probably not on me, right? Like I would know, right? It probably ran under the table or something. What do you think about boot camps for coding? I did a PhD in economics where I studied and developed the prestige rule for a high quality coding boot camp. So I think I don't just think, like I have really good data to show the average coding boot camp is trash, but a high prestige coding boot camp is an awesome investment. And there's a specific way to determine a high prestige coding boot camp. You can use the Fortune 50 rule. So certifications that are produced by Amazon, Microsoft, your Fortune 50 companies have a statistically significant economic benefit in the eyes of an employer. For bootcamp, coursereport.com, score 4.2, 5 or higher, minimum 400 reviews, ideally with a job placement guarantee. Any recommendations? I haven't checked in a few months. Last time I checked was like maybe February. One that I liked at the time was Springboard. So you can check out Springboard, but make sure that the guarantee is still in place, because if they took that guarantee away, it really changes the value calculation, right? Thanks for the follows. What am I doing? I'm choring this to say sort depths. I think that's all it did, right? It just sorted them. So now the n is first. I'm going to be that guy who goes to pull request Next.js core just to sort the dependencies. If you're liking the video, by the way, tap the screen and give it some likes. We got 60 likes on TikTok. I know you can do more than that. So what does this say? It has this like redundant name somehow. Let me look for this. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'll double check this one more time. Package JSON and lib. Should include this main. I don't know that we have the main entry. Yeah, we don't. Okay. And it's specifying the version here. Cool. We need to reroute the main index. That is actually a big key. ESLint don't fix me.index.js. ESLint. Okay, we already have that. It's just an indentation difference. Yo, I'm coding right now too. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Vitali, what are you doing? We are making a custom ESLint rule using GPT-4 Omni model. They call it Omni because it's supposed to do all the things, but then you go, oh, it doesn't. Where's that awesome audio interface they demoed? I don't know. Oh, that's why they call it O. No fix me.js. What did we change here? We changed some comments. Or white space if the fixer changes only white space. It doesn't. No options. Cool. So it says no fix me, but we just fixed it. Okay, we did all these things. Need to make sure that this is here. Excuse me. I think this is already good to go, but we can double check. App ESLint RC. Command P, app ESLint RC JSON. AVS, unchanged. Cool. Could you stop chewing gum? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I could. Why am I in like a sassy mood? All right, I'll stop chewing gum for you. Fun fact, chewing gum is a nootropic. It improves cognitive ability by boosting blood flow to your brain. Thanks for the follow. It's so grating. I took it out. I took it out. My sassy era is over for the day. So what happened? Do I need to unlink and link again? Sure. I don't know that this is necessary, but let's do it. So we're going to go to lib, cd lib. Cool. We're going to go over to app, my app, unlink the same thing. Great, we're unlinked. Now we're going to go back. Just to relink it. Just to relink it. There have got to be like better ways to work with link. It's like a clunky tool. But it does the job. I mean, I guess I shouldn't complain. I shouldn't complain. I'm supposed to be done with my sassy era for the day, so. That's a successful relink. So we have busted the cache. Let's verify it. Great, very smart. Great suggestion. Link is present. Now I'm going to cd to app. That is wherever the package JSON is, which is right here. It's likely that it isn't installed correctly. ESLint 857. Maybe they do need to be on the same ESLint. Yeah, so the solution it wants me to have is to bump the app package, and I'm here for it. Why downgrade my library when I can upgrade my application? Let's go to the future, not the past. You dig? Who's digging it? D in the chat for digging. Don't cancel me, dude. 9393 ESLint. Okay. I'm going to npmi. From ESLint, okay, so here we see a change. Couldn't find an ESLint config. Yep, see, this is like a critical change. This is a critical change. So it is due to the version differences. Cool, but we're chatting with GPT and we're finding it out. After my app update, download trailing space extension. It seems like it would be useful, but I feel like it would be loud. Prettier trims my trailing spaces anyways. I'm going to pass. Thanks for the offer. Oh, it wants to literally place it here. That's cool. ESLint config.js. You need to migrate to a new format. Here's how to migrate it. Create the new one. Excuse me. Okay, so now we have a JS file, not a JSON file. I think it's module.exports. It wants me to reinstall the things. What is this linter config? That's crazy. Okay, so let's try this, and this is not going to work, right? It's not going to work. Yeah, okay. They really changed it up. Cool. Cannot use import statement outside of a module. Woo, this is a terrible thing to do. I think we might end up downgrading the version. Remember when I was like, why downgrade? This is a pretty good answer to that question. So we need to require syntax. Cannot find the module. Let's go up to the grep to make sure the symlink is still there. Symlink is dead. Symlink is dead. So that's the issue. Wonder if I can bring this guy in. Here I am in the app. Cool. This is going to go up one level, up another level, and then down to lib. So we need to add one more level of shenanigans. Peer ESLint 723. So now it's complaining about peer dependency incompatibility. Time to downgrade. That's your sign. That's your sign. So Command Z a bunch of times. Here we are, ESLint 8. And I can further say 8570. 8570. Okay. Over here, I'm going to change you to be 8570. Okay, so now I'm going to npm unlink. It doesn't matter because you're not really linked, whatever. Here I'm going to npm unlink. Great. Now I'm going to npm I. So now you're on 857. Let's go over to Buddy Boy. npm I over here. Hey, we have a successful npm I. So today I learned you can do this, which I think I might like more than npm link. You can just install the local file that way. I hear typing, but I see no fingers. I have a remote keyboard. Thanks for the follow. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and tap like on it. Make sure that you're following the page. welcome to everyone who already codes. Thanks for being here. Do a quick ad for Latterly.io, which is free and open source. You can join the community, join the Discord right there, and sign up for free. If it's free, why is there an ad? Because it's freemium. So if you want to do stuff like in-person Zoom calls, small groups, there's premium. One-on-ones, you can book a session. You can leave a tip. Leave a tip if you want to. Nobody ever does. Ooh, another TikToker dev. You should check out Zed. We're building a new editor in Rust. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Zed. What's up, Joe? Yeah, Zed's pretty cool. Zed's pretty cool. What am I doing? What I'm doing is, hey, now that I installed this, let's see if it works. So let me find my npmx. Something went wrong. An object is using the extends key. Okay, I didn't roll it back to JSON. I need to roll it back to JSON form. So we're going over here, and I have a CJS, which I should not have. So I'm going to Command Z. Would you like to undo the rename? Yes, I would. Would you like to undo this rename? Yes, I would. Okay. How about now? Unknown keyword or identity. So ESLint is running now. Whoa! Oh, it ran. It ran in a silly, goofy mood because it actually broke my app, but it ran. We just did a custom ESLint rule with verification in an hour 20, also with like crazy rants and attack by spiders and being tired, and in the limiting case where it's zero-shot prompting and all the things, right? So it ran this. Now, let me Command Z. Command Shift Z, Command Z, Command Shift Z, Command Z. So it's just dropping the double slash. It's dropping the double slash. So let's go find the rule. No, fix me. Hey, can I get a W in the chat? That worked, y'all. Let's get a W in the chat. I'm going to close all, and then I'm going to Command P, no dash fix me. And we can see the issue is right here, right? It's just replacing this. I need a slashes at the start of the line. Comment value replace. It is not super obvious to me why that's happening. Get all comments. Get all comments. Yeah. I guess it's stripped of the prefix double slash at this time. I could debug it, but why debug it when I can just ask GPT-4? The rule is now working when I npm --fix. However, it is stripping the comment prefix after fix me becomes to do. Let's update the below code to address that. I'm going to do one commit prior. I'm going to do one commit prior to that. So this is feature rule triggers. Rule can run. I don't know. They say variable naming is the hardest part of programming, but man, commit messages are up there. Getting a good commit message is up there. npm uninstall TypeScript. Ooh, this is a JavaScript file right here. We're mixing and matching. We're mixing and matching. So here, this is going to be lib. Let me go over to app. my app. Here's the package. And here I want to have test. And this will be, not that. npx ESLint dot dash fix. And I shouldn't call it test. I'll call it test ESLint. How about that? So now I can, next time around, I can test ESLint. And package.json is also kind of code as documentation. So you want to know the meta things that I can do with my app. As a developer, you want to know about your developer tools when you look at this file. NPX is like reaching outside of my local app. I don't want people to need to know that. You could just put it in your README. I guess that works too. But I like this approach of putting it in the package. What am I doing? I'm going over here. Cool. You can see it changed the fixer logic. So I could like put in my debugger and be super cool and like, let me npm I again. It's going to need to install a fresh version. I might need to bump the lib version. So I could be like super cool. But did it really save me any time? See, it works. It works, dude. It works. That just took 5 more minutes to get the fix in. So cool. I'm going to drop that. We could write a test and like the test triggers it and expects the file diff. It's like extra. We've proven the point at this point. Under an hour and a half, that was my time box. We got minutes to spare. So what? Do I need to bump the version? I don't. It worked anyway. It worked anyway. So this is a fix commit, fix. Oh, and now I can npm run test ESLint if I want to. And I get the diff over there. Voila, there it is. Everything's working. I'm going to revert that. And this is fix, fix, no fix me. Whoa. And now I even have, look at this. I even have my VS Code picking it up. Replace fix me with to do for code consistency. You love to see it. Do we have any seniors in the chat? Seniors should know how cool that is. I understand it's like a somewhat contrived example, but we just did a custom ESLint rule in an hour and a half. Like, ship it, babe. Ship it. Fix rule logic. Like retain comment prefix. Like fix comment syntax. Autofix comment syntax. Thanks everyone for being here. I hope you'll follow the channel. Send this to your friend, your loved one, your dog, everyone that you know that likes coding. And I'll see you next time.